Heyo! Today we're going to talk about solving systems of linear equation by substitution. So here is the basic concept, the basic outline of what we're going to do. So we're going to be looking at a system of equations, right, in x and y, two equations. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pick one of those equations to solve for one of the variables. So one equation, solve for one of the variables, and that just means to get one of the variables by itself in one of those equations. Once you have a variable by itself, it's either x equals some stuff or y equals some stuff, blah, 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 blah. Then what you can do is substitute whatever the blah, blah, blah is that y equals, you substitute that in for y in the other equation. So the expression that you got from step one from solving one of the equations to get one of the variables by itself, you substitute that into the other equation, and then that makes it so you can solve for the other variable. And once you have the other variable, you plug back in and solve. And as with most things, these steps will probably make more sense when we go over some of the examples. So let's start going over some examples. Now this one, I look at my two equations. Equation one already has one of the variables by itself, right? It already has the y by itself. So step one, already done for us. Step two is to substitute into the other equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what y equals, which is, come on, which is negative 2x minus 9, and I'm going to substitute that in place of y in the other equation. So in my other equation, I'm writing 6x minus 5 times, instead of y, I'm just going to write the expression that y equals, negative 2x minus 9 equals negative 19. So now I have an equation that only has x in it. So I just need to start solving that. I need to distribute the minus 5 here. So we got 6x, and then we're doing negative 5 times negative 2x. So that becomes plus 10x. And then negative 5 times negative 9 is positive 45. Did I do that right? And then let's see, we're going to need to, we got 6x plus 10x. They're on the same side, so we combine like terms here. So 10x plus 6x is 16x. And now we need to get x by itself, so subtract 45 from both sides. They cancel there, and then negative 19 minus 45. It's going to be negative, and you can just add the 19 plus 45. So it's going to be negative 64. Divide both sides by 16. And then we get x equals negative 64 divided by 16. I think it's 3 or 4. 4. So x equals -4. That is not the entire solution, but it's part of our solution. Because remember, the solution to a system of linear equations is an ordered pair with an x value and a y value. So right now, I know what the x value is. I know the x value is -4. So how can I figure out the y value? If I take that x equals -4 and plug it, I'm going to plug a -4 in for x. In right, and I'll do it right there. You could pick either equation, but the one that has the y already, the one that you solve for y, or the one that was already given to you in this case, that's the easiest one usually to plug back in, because it's y equals, and then you just plug in for x. So I'll do that over here. Y equals -2x minus 9. Plugging in a -4 for x. Oh, -2 times -4 is +8. So we get y equals -1. So our solution is the ordered pair -4, -1. So let's just kind of like realize that we did these things, right? Step 1 was done for us. That already had y solved by itself. Step 2, we substituted the expression for y into the other equation. Then we were able to solve that equation. Then the last step was to plug this value in to the first equation to find out the y value. So altogether, our solution is -4, -1. Here is another one. So now this one is not set up for us, right? We have to pick one of the equations to solve for one of the variables. And the thing that we look for is we want to solve for one of the first thing we're looking for is does one of the variables have a coefficient of 1? Whenever a variable has a coefficient of 1, that's a good thing. And it's invisible 1, right? So I have 1y here and 1y there. This -x is really -1x, but we just don't write the ones. So we're looking for a variable that has a coefficient of 1. Those are the easiest to solve for. So I could really do either one of these because the first equation and the second equation both have a y that has a coefficient of 1. But I'll take equation 1 and solve for y because all I have to do is add x to both sides. So I'll start over here, -x plus y equals 3. So I'm starting with equation 1, and I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to add x to both sides. Now 3 plus x, you can't combine those because we don't know what x is, so it's just x plus 3. Okay, so that's step 1. We got one of the variables by itself. Now we're going to take the expression that is equal to our variable, in this case x plus 3, and we're going to plug it into equation 2. So I'm going to take 3x plus y equals -1. It's equation 2 that we're using now. This was equation 1. And we're going to substitute the x plus 3 in for y. So 3x plus, instead of y, x plus 3. Then we can combine like 3x plus x, that's 4x. Subtract 3 from both sides. We get 4x equals -4. And if we divide both sides by 4, we're going to get x equals -1. So we know the x value, or x coordinate of our ordered pair solution. Now I just need to plug this -1. I'm going to take and plug this back into here, because that's the easiest equation set up for me to figure out what y equals. So I'm going to take y equals x plus 3, and I'm going to substitute the -1 in, because we had x equals -1. So I'm going to put a -1 there. Y equals -1 plus 3. So y equals 2. Now there's also real life math. And so this is the part where I always laugh when students, because students love to challenge their algebra teachers and say, when am I ever going to use this in real life? And I always say, word problems, bro. So if you want to pull that with me, you're just going to get more word problems. Word problems is math in real life. So let's play with one. Drama club earns $1,040 from a production. I'm going to guess it was a play. A total of 64 adult tickets and 132 student tickets were sold. An adult ticket costs twice as much as a student ticket. Write a system of linear equations that represents the situation, and then we need to find the price of each type of ticket. Okay, so one of the equations is going to come from the money, because they gave us a total of money. And that comes from ticket sales, right? So 64 adult tickets. So if we let A represent the number of adult tickets, then or the price of an adult ticket, because 64 is the number of adult tickets. So I'm going to say up here, A equals price of adult ticket. And then let's let S equal the price of a student ticket. So then 64 times A, that would be how much money you make on adult tickets. And then 132 times S would be how much money you got from student tickets. So our equation there is 64A, so 64 times the price of an adult ticket plus 132 times the price of a student ticket equals the total amount of money they brought in, which is $1,040. And then the other equation we're going to get is from this sentence right here. An adult ticket costs twice as much as a student ticket. So an adult ticket is equal to 2 times the price of a student ticket. So there's our second equation. Our second equation is already dolled up for us. It's already got A by itself. So what I can do, we now can substitute. Instead of this A, we're going to write 2S. So 64 times 2, it's 128 plus 132s equals 1,040. So 128 plus 132, 260. So this is 260s equals 1,040. And now we will divide by 260. $1,040 divided by 200, 260. 4. So S equals 4. So that means a student ticket costs $4. And then we need to figure out what an adult ticket costs. So A equals 2S. S is 4. So A is 8. So student ticket costs $4 and an adult ticket costs $8. And then I threw this in there because they have problems like this on the assignment, but not in the lesson. So how would we write a system of equations that has a certain solution? So this is our X value, this is our Y value. Basically, all you have to do for a problem like this is like here's an easy way. You're just going to write some things, right? You're going to write, like, for example, you can just say X plus Y. This is a really easy way to do it. X plus Y equals, and then just add them. 3 plus negative 2 is 1. Then you could say, I don't know, 2x minus y equals. Then all you have to do, you just write whatever expressions you want on the left side, and then you just figure out what number needs to go on the right side. So over here, I'm going to say, all right, 2x, so 2 times 3 minus y, so minus negative 2. That's 2 times 3 is 6, minus a negative 2 is plus 2, so 6 plus 2 is 8. So this would be a system of equations that has 3, negative 2 as a solution. All you got to do is write a couple of simple expressions and then do the math to figure out what that number needs to be. And you could, and it can be totally different. It just depends on which expressions you pick. Okay, so I've got a couple of extra ones down there that we can do if you want to see some more. But as far as the lesson recording, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.